Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lucha Rewatch Season 2, Episode 7. Today, we are covering Lucha Underground Season 2, Episodes 13 and 14. And man, Lucha Underground continues to deliver. Between these two episodes, we had 3 great matches and obviously a couple of other solid matches, but 3 really, really enjoyable matches. John, what did you think of these 2 episodes?
Oh, dude, I thought they were fantastic. From an in-ring standpoint, like you said, some really quality matches on here, particularly in episode 14, a match that I'm excited to talk about. Some cinematics that keep moving the narrative forward, or I should say narratives, because Lucha Underground has so many stories going on at once. I mean, yeah, for any misgivings we might have had about the second season, I mean, you look at these episodes and it's like everything that you love about Lucha Underground, it's still there, and it's there in a very strong way. So excited to talk about these 2 episodes today.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what, dude? Let's not make any bones about it. Before we get started, I just want to point everybody to the description, because if you're watching this right now, I'm hoping that means that you've already seen all of Season 1 and Season 2. And the main reason I'm saying that is because this is watching Season 2 with a little bit of both hindsight and foresight, because we know what's going to happen in the rest of Season 2, because this is a rewatch. This isn't the first time that we've seen these episodes. We're watching them for what is actually realistically the 3rd time, because starting with Season 2, we started watching the episodes while live reacting for the first time. And then later on that night, we would rewatch the episodes, because the live reactions mean that we don't necessarily actually get to hear everything that's said. So this is a minimum of a 3rd time watching these episodes, which also means that we've seen all of Season 2 and we've already seen Season 3, but we're going to do our best to avoid Season 3 spoilers. And if we're even a little bit fuzzy on something, whether it was Season 2 or Season 3, we're just not going to mention it. But that being said, there are going to be some Season 2 spoilers in this series, and we want to make sure that you guys are caught up with the series before you watch this episode. So if you haven't finished Season 1 yet, first of all, go back and watch the episodes. But then second of all, if you want a viewing companion, you can go back and listen to our Season 1 reviews. Or if you have seen Season 1, but you're just trying to catch up and really let it soak in and you're rewatching Season 1, we did a Season 1 rewatch, which was only 10 episodes long. We covered 4 hours of Season 1 per episode, obviously culminating in Ultima Lucha. And then we also reviewed and live reacted to Season 2. And then we have this ongoing playlist, Season 2 rewatch. So let's get right into it. Episode 13 of Season 2, we start off with our usual recap, going over the Trios tournament. Katrina saying that she's, the Disciples of Death can't fail again. And then Dario Cueto telling Matanza to bring death to the dead. And then we get right into Dario Cueto's office with Drago, Aerostar, and Phoenix. Cueto tells Phoenix, you may be the man of 1,000 lives, but I'm the man of endless opportunities. And even though you guys lost last year, it was because Drago and Aerostar couldn't get along. So Phoenix, I'm going to give you a spot in the Trios tournament, but it's going to be with different partners. You're teaming up with PJ Black and Jack Evans. And meanwhile, Drago and Aerostar, you guys, since you had such troubles getting along last year, you're fighting each other tonight for an Aztec medallion.
I love that this cinematic, what it really comes down to is continuity at its finest. And it shows that Cueto, he's not just another heel authority figure. He's one that really does pay active attention to the whole product, and he's intelligent about it. Because he says, hey, you, Phoenix, didn't screw it up for your team last year, so I'm going to give you another go at it with 2 different partners in PJ Black and Jack Evans, which that's a very interesting combination right there. And then Drago and Aerostar, keep in mind, he also mentions that you guys seem to have been getting along lately, given their beef with Jack Evans and PJ Black. Let's put that new friendship to the test, given their wars in the past. So I love that this whole cinematic both furthers the story, but by remembering where it's been. I really love that.
Yeah, and I love this whole Jack Evans, Drago, PJ Black, Aerostar thing started in like episode 2 or 3. And if I remember correctly, it lasts literally until the end of the season.
Yeah, it goes on a long time. And,
we might have kind of missed out and you know, kind of swing and a miss kind of situation here, because I feel like PJ Black and Jack Evans versus Drago and Aerostar might be the untitled, or like the, you know, the unrepresented feud of the year 2016.
Yeah, I feel like they did really amazing things together in their feud, and this is just another notch in it, really like bringing all these pieces together. And I love too how again we're walking that tightrope between promoting the trios tournament, which I believe, yeah, this episode was concluding the first round, and Gift of the Gods. So Lucha Underground, two really big things going on simultaneously, and they don't miss a beat. Great stuff.
Yeah, so then we get into our first match of the night, and that is Aerostar versus Drago. And man, I gotta tell you, I love Drago. Obviously, he's wonderful. I love the look, the attire, and he's pretty good in the ring. But to me, Aerostar is a freaking tremendous high flyer.
You know the crazy thing, dude, when we were watching these two episodes, 13 and 14, and you know, we've been talking about certain like backstage things, you know, with Ricochet and this thing and that thing. I'm like, you know, who could really step up and be like that really great, amazing Technico? And, you know, one name really came to my mind, and we'll talk about that a little later. But I look at Aerostar, and he's so good in ring and so crisp, and the character is fascinating, being a time traveler, which isn't a spoiler because we've already seen that on display up until this point. So I think he's got the really intriguing character. He's got the in-ring down. And yeah, I mean, if this guy would ever seriously get pushed, first of all, I wouldn't mind it at all, because seeing the narratives that he's a part of, and again, I think some of those we've already talked about, you know, there would be teeth there. And I think, yeah, he could carry it very well. This is a really fun match. And yeah, I think Aerostar really was the star of this match. I mean, no pun intended. I thought he did great here.
Yeah. I love how creative he gets with some of his dives to the outside, whether it's, you know, some of the stuff that we saw in season 1 where he would get like, he would face away from his opponent, and then he would jump up and just kind of like dead weight his opponent, like fall back on them, just flat, like freaking, like he's planking or something, like crazy, just stiff, like just screw you, I'm just going to let all of my body weight fall on you. And then in this, we got another creative dive where he like jumped up top, and then he did like this weird like sideways flip in the air. Like, yeah, Aerostar, I think, is one of the most underrated performers in the temple.
Hell, I think there was even a time where maybe you and I were even underrating him a little bit. And then I think, like, yeah, you know, it just...
I mean, yeah, that's just because, though, I mean, to be fair, in season 1, he really was presented as, like, a lower mid-card guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, though, I go back to something I feel like I've been saying a lot, particularly in this series. You saddle a guy with a character, especially one that seems to fit and can, you know, kind of provoke that intrigue, and it's just off to the races. And, you know, when you're like, oh, this guy isn't just a luchador, he's a freaking time traveler, I'm like, okay, all right, I'll take that ride with you. And yeah, like, Aerostar getting the win was great for him. And I love the way he did it, too, because he, like, did the slingshot kind of, you know, code breaker almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that whole springboard splash that Rey Mysterio used to use for a finish. Now Aerostar's kind of taking it up.
He did the salute, too, like the midair salute.
Yeah, and that's how he gets the 3 count. So seeing Aerostar in Gift of the Gods, especially at this point in time when we know the stuff that he's already done, you know, meeting with, you know, the tribes and everything, which, again, I know happened before this, you know, you really get the idea, like, wow, are they putting the pieces in play for bigger things? And we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, buddy. All right, so then we had Taya asking Johnny Mundo if it's possible that he looks even better today than he looked yesterday.
Yes. Yes, it is possible.
I feel like if you would have been around, that would have been your reaction, but Johnny's reaction was, damn right it's possible. I'm not just a man, I'm the man.
And he's not even wrong.
Right?
Oh, my God. He just... the very manifestation of perfection itself, Johnny Mundo. But yeah, they're conversing, and Taya pretty much says, you know, I talked to Dario, and you've got yourself, you know, a gift of the gods, like an Aztec medallion match And Mundo's like, that's great. Did you mention that I didn't get a chance to compete for one last year? Which is an excellent point by Johnny. That absolutely should have been brought up. And thankfully, because Taya's the perfect woman, she did bring it up. So it sealed the deal. Johnny will be competing for a medallion. And Johnny says, you know, who's my unlucky opponent? And it's Cage.
Yeah, it is.
And Johnny kind of gives a look, you know, because why am I sullying myself getting in the ring with this loser yet again? But he's like, no, you know, it's cool. If he does anything too machine-y, you'll be there to even it out. And Taya says, well, that's the thing. It's going to be in a steel cage. And yes, folks, this is where we get our infamous cage in a cage.
Cage in a cage!
And, you know, Taya then spends the rest of the cinematic just trying to pump Johnny Mundo up, saying you're going to shut that machine down for good. And Johnny Mundo just intensifies his workout regimen because, unlike most of America, he actually knows what a regiment is. And yeah, that's pretty much the cinematic. Johnny Mundo is better than all of you, and I think I'm done stating the obvious. Do you have any thoughts you'd like to contribute?
Mundo's going to oxygenate the shit out of that iron.
That's right. There you go.
I'm just waiting for it to click what I just said. What did I just say? Go ahead, John. Tell everyone in the audience who doesn't know.
Well, I mean, you figure machines are made of iron, and when you oxidate iron and oxygen meets iron, it rusts. So the machine's gonna rust at the hands of Johnny Mundo. And why? Because in the words of Jesse Pinkman, magnets, but more importantly, science, bitch. Yeah!
Okay, I'm so glad that you got it. I was so worried there for just a minute that it went over your head because I know you're not big on science, but I was hoping that the iron oxide thing would be a global enough bit of information.
Yeah, that's Science 101, bro. Like, if I didn't know that, I should just give up on life right now. But thankfully, and here's where you went right. You associated it with Johnny Mundo, which, of course, you know I can never drop the ball because I'm not like James. So now, floor is yours.
Okay, well, up next we had our second match of the night, and this was the Phoenix Trios match, where obviously we already know he had to team up with PJ Black and Jack Evans, and surprisingly, even though they didn't get along swimmingly, they got along well enough to beat the Disciples of Death, because let's be real, the Disciples of Death are basically jobbers.
Yeah, I mean, they are complete jokes. They've been exposed as such well before this point. And yeah, I gotta say, I really dig the team of Black, Evans, and Phoenix. You know, it's just really cool. And dude, like, and I'm gonna have more to say about it, I think, in the next episode we cover. But Jack Evans, man, so freaking good. Honestly, dude, like, I was watching this, and he was the other guy. When I told you at the beginning, like, given the whole like outside thing with Ricochet and everything else, like who could really take that spot? Who could really be that Technico? And I feel like there are already guys that could just slide in that position like Cage and others. But Jack Evans is somebody, dude, that if he would ever have a Technico run with his charisma and what he does in ring, he'd get over like fucking gangbusters. Like I feel like his best run is yet to happen because again, like on the apron doing the jumping jacks, like, oh, I gotta warm up. And then he gets the tag and he takes forever to do something. And then his yam bag, so to speak, meet the ring post. PJ, bad idea. Get me out of here. Like, he's just like so obnoxious in your face, but so fucking hilarious that you can't help but be into everything the guy does. And if he would ever do that kind of shtick with Rudos as a Technico, dude, people would fall in love with him so hard. Like, I already have, and he's a heel, but imagine, like, how casuals would feel about a guy like that being introduced to the Lucha Underground product. I think he'd be the closest thing to The Rock that promotion could offer up for my money. I just love what the guy does. Yeah,
dude, Jack Evans is brilliant. I freaking love his comedy style where he's just a dick in this case. Like, he's just straight up going out of his way to try and screw his team over. And then, like, he ends up doing it again at some point in season 3 to cover up for a literally broken jaw. But, like, just his comedy style just gets me. And apparently I'm not the only one because you're praising him for it too.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, he's just got, you know, that I hate to call it the X Factor because I feel like that's so cliche. But I feel like he's got that quality that, yeah, no matter what you do with the guy, he's going to kill it. He's going to run with it. And I'll tell you, if you ever really got behind the guy and made him a focus, like either in the world title picture or in some big time angle, he'd fucking slay it. You know, not only is he a dragon slayer, he's just a wrestling slayer because he owns it every single time. So yeah, love Jack Evans. Absolutely.
Yeah, Evans is great. All right, so this match, you know, we already just kind of established that Phoenix, PJ, and Jack win because the Disciples of Death suck and are jobbers. And I feel like PJ, Jack, and or Phoenix could have taken on the Disciples of Death in a 1-on-3 handicap match if necessary. But they, you know, they all have to kind of get along at least enough to overcome these guys. So then we move on. The Unlikely Trio, Son of Havoc, Ivelisse, and Angelico are in Cueto's office. Cueto basically feels like he's 100% responsible for them being as great as they are and being champions, which again goes back to the idea that he constantly tries to set himself up in win-win situations where if one thing happens, he gets what he wants, or if another thing happens, he can claim that he made something good happen. He's like, yeah, you guys are great because I put you together. But now you're defending your titles again next week in a 4-way match against the Trios Championship winners, or I guess finalists, because he puts it in a way where it seems like they're in the Trios tournament, but really what it was a 3-team tournament where the winner of each match, or a 3-match tournament where the winner of each match became number 1 contenders, basically, because it ended up being a fatal 4-way elimination match for the titles then, including the Unlikely Trio, which ended up being an unlikely duo, and they were unlikely for a reason, but we'll get to that later.
Exactly, yeah. So I really like that Cueto does this. You know, again, it's like you said, this guy just tries to make it seem like no matter what happens, he comes out with the win. You know, I love the smugness, and yeah, Team Havoc got their back up against the wall, but I've been loving this tournament, man. It's been so much fun. And yeah, it just only further intensified because of this. So great stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so up next we had Katrina scolding the shit out of the Disciples of Death. She basically just bluntly says, give me one good reason why I shouldn't destroy all 3 of you. And then Siniestro de la Muerte proceeds to literally rip the heart out of both Trece and Barrio Negro.
Yeah, I remember you and I were like freaking out when this first happened, like, what? And, you know, he's holding, like, both the hearts and, like, sucking in, like, that power and that life force and making himself stronger. And Katrina is just, like, smiling. Hell, I mean, she smiled after he did it to Trece, but she's like, is that it? And then he does it to Barrio Negro, and it's like, all right, now you've shown me why you deserve to stay around for just a little bit longer, at least. You know, you've bought yourself another day, so to speak. And yeah, just interesting stuff from Sinestro here, and interested to see what happens with him going forward.
Yeah, and we have a super chat, which the last time we got one of these, it was James asking you to show your penis, but obviously that was never going to happen. But this time, James donated $2 and said, fuck Australia. So there you go, James. There's your shout out. Thank you for the $2. And I don't agree. I like Australia, but I would never want to live there because everything there tries to kill you.
I mean, look, I just have to say something, too, because if you scroll up in chat, you see why he said fuck Australia. Alexa Bliss never left you because to leave somebody, you have to be with them to begin with. Get your head out of your ass and see the real world for what it is. Buddy Murphy is better than you.
I mean, Buddy Murphy is clearly the alpha in this situation. Let's be real.
Well, look, James isn't even a beta because he isn't a part of the equation, all right? Buddy Murphy is better than you.
James like a zeta?
He's nothing, all right? Give up on life, James. It's over, all right? And yes, fuck Australia, but only because they had Tony Abbott for a prime minister, and he is the fucking worst. And I'm glad he's out of power now.
If you said fuck insert country name here to every country that had a shitty person as their leader, you wouldn't be able to tolerate any country in the world except for maybe Canada. But even then, I'm sure if you go back far enough, they've had shitty leaders in the past too.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. So fuck the world. There, I covered everything.
There you go. Cover all your bases, and now we move on. We had our third and final match of episode 13, Mil Muertes versus Matanza. This was a great match. And John, I love both these guys. These guys are both freaking warriors. I love them so much.
Oh yeah, dude, this was great. And you know, I think the title of this episode, right, was Monster versus Monster. And that's really what this match felt like. I didn't feel like either guy got really bitched out the other. I felt like it was pretty even keel, like from bell to bell. We got to see Mill do like a tope suicida here, and I'm just like, oh my god, like that I think is actually more impressive in a way than Luke Harper. Because I mean, look at how Mil Muertes is built, and yet he does a move like that. They fight throughout the crowd. They go all the way on top of the building, and we know how that ends, partner.
Yeah, they fight their way up the steps, and they end up on top of Cueto's office, and then, I mean, Mill does a great job here trying to throw Matanza off of the roof to try and make him just fall to his demise down to the floor. But Matanza does do a good job. Matanza does do a good job of holding on, and then eventually they end up in another compromising position where Mill flatliners Matanza through the roof of Cueto's office. And James just sent in another $2 for a super chat, and he said, fuck John, kick him from the call, but I'm not going to kick him from the call, but I did read the super chat, so it counts. Thanks for the $2.
How many times are you going to keep doing this, asshole? Are we actually getting his goddamn money?
James, do you know what? James is donating money, but in the process, he's becoming immortal because he's a part of the review now.
Oh, well, he even said, like, he's the face of TWitWoW now, which, my God, what a hideous fucking face to put on the product. I won't tolerate this shit. I demand respect. Anyway, I'm sorry. You were talking. Please continue.
I was done.
Oh, you were done. Yeah, just like James is here in a few fucking seconds. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool spot. Mil Muertes putting Matanza through the building with the flatliner. Cueto freaking out was amazing, and Vampiro translated it as him saying, like, war in Spanish.
Yeah, he was yelling, Guerra! Guerra!
And, like, yeah, this is what you want when you think about these two forces. Mil Muertes, who's been around really since episode 2, season 1, right? Because that's when he got brought in to deal with Blue Demon Jr. And then we all know about Matanza's debut.
Season 1, episode 2, I want to say, yeah.
Yeah, so it was 2. And then we know when Matanza debuted, because we covered that already, and he was just a behemoth. So when you see two forces like that collide, this is what you'd expect the result to be, and they didn't disappoint. I thought this was amazing and a great visual given who was involved. So really, really awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Yeah,
these guys are both great. But, I mean, there was no winner because they both went through Cueto's building. So that doesn't really, the referee basically had to throw the match out. And then we got our final segment, our post-credit scene, which I love that Lucha Underground even has these. Seriously corny cop show music starts playing, and we've got a Captain Vasquez scene. And she, she's got these wanted posters hanging, and it's pictures of Bale and Blue Demon Jr. and Hernandez, and then I think the other two were Big Rick and what was his name in Lucha Underground? Davari. I don't remember what his Delavar Davari. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, those are the 5 wanted posters, or missing posters actually. But then a man walks in, played by Lorenzo Lamas, the legend himself, who we didn't even recognize when we first saw him. And he is in Lucha Underground. Captain Vasquez refers to him as Councilman Delgado. So Councilman Delgado shows up and basically says that she needs to drop the case on Dario Cueto. And the person that's giving these orders is his boss. And she's just assuming, well, that's the mayor. And she doesn't give a damn what the mayor has to say. But then Delgado makes it more clear that his boss is far more powerful than the mayor.
Yeah, so you just got to wonder, like, how high up does this chain go? And, just telling Vasquez, like, hey, cut your losses, get the fuck out of here. And, yeah, he just leaves her to it, and you can see like she's kind of stewing on it a little bit, and then she just bangs her desk in frustration because this case, she's put so much time into it, and we've checked in, before how she's just amassed all this evidence. You saw the missing, board only a few seconds prior. Like, she's really invested herself in this, and then here comes Delgado saying, no, that my guy goes even higher up than the mayor. Just stop your investigation of Cueto. That's it. It's over. So, yeah, it really does beg the question. Will Vasquez continue the investigation? If she does, will there be any repercussions? And the biggest question of all, just who is the Lord, and how powerful is he that even, the mayor, who Vasquez was just kind of dismissive of, it's like, oh, no. The mayor, that's small time. This is something else entirely. So really nice ending cinematic, dude.
So we've got some more super chats going on right now. Javaris Carter donated $5 and said, 5, suck it, James. P.S. Buddy Murphy wins at life. I approve of everything you just said, Javaris. So you've got my approval full blown. And then Cliff Amal donated $1 with literally no reason. Just thanks, Cliff. You're awesome.
Well, it's amazing that his shoulder is at 100% because it still seems like a baby bag bitch to me. Not even a message, really?
You know what, though? This is the perfect opportunity for me to be, hey, guys, oh, my God. James just donated $10, and he said, fuck whatever country you're from, Javaris. Fuck Buddy and Alexa. Moving on to Peyton. Okay, thank you, James. But now this is my opportunity to let you guys know that we fully appreciate the super chats and the donations. It's wonderful. But if you donate the money that you're giving to us via super chat to our Patreon, you'll be contributing to the community goal and potentially getting us to do live reactions to every episode of Monday Night Raw. So we absolutely appreciate your money no matter how you give it to us. But if you want us to live react to Monday Night Raw, go to Patreon and give it to us there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
plus, I think technically we make a higher percentage of the money that you donate on Patreon than YouTube, because I think we make like 70-ish% of what you donate through Super Chat, and then we make like 80+% on Patreon. So if you wanna support us, Patreon is a better option than Super Chat, but I'm not gonna stop you from doing either one.
And apparently now Bullet Club vs. The Shield wants to get some strippers. You guys do whatever you want. We still got to cover episode 14, but yes, I echo my partner's sentiments. Please, because at the rate you guys are giving in the Super Chat, if that went to the Patreon, we would be doing Raw Live reactions starting next week. So please, check out the Patreon, and if you want to contribute to the community goal, you are free to do so.
James just donated another $2, and he said, fuck the rules. So...
Oh my God, James, you are utterly...
I mean, the thing is, these aren't rules. It's just advice. It's me, like, being like, hey, guys, you could get more out of your money if you did this other thing with it.
Look, James is a Neanderthal. You explaining it to him isn't going to help. He's worthless. Can we just move on to episode 14 here? Because I feel like James is just going to escalate, so...
Yeah, James has now donated $16. So... Thank you, James, and thank you, Cliff, and thank you, Javaris, for all of these donations. We appreciate all of it, and there's another donation from Cliff Amal, $2 more than James makes on pimping.
That's so true, and I can't believe we're making it rain right now, and I didn't even have to twerk, so yeah, this is a great day for all of us.
Oh my God. All right, guys, we are moving on. By the way, you know what? No, we're not moving on, because I just realized that before we got these super chats, I was going to talk about, goddamn, okay, Javaris, thank you so much. Javaris just donated $5, and he said, but Raw is hot garbage. I refuse to put you through that torture. So thank you, Javaris, but still, you could put us through that torture and we'd be fine with it, because $200 a month is a lot of money, and we would be very grateful for that. Anyway, back to what I was trying to say. I am convinced that Councilman Delgado's boss is Dario Cueto's father.
Yes. I know you've addressed that theory before. I'm glad you restated, though, for people that may be new to this series. Would you say your conviction is still as strong as it's always been?
Stronger than ever, my friend. Stronger than ever.
It doesn't surprise me. And thank you, Forrester H, for commenting on our gender reactions. But yeah, I don't know who the Lord is, but I think I already saddled, my horse to like your card there about it being Dario's father, and we'll wait and see. I'm hoping that gets revealed in the latter half of season 3. We don't know if it will though or not, because I mean LU loves that slow burn. But yeah, I think Cueto's father is as good a guess as any. So yeah, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. Between this segment right here, where from higher ups that you should specifically stop investigating Dario Cueto, like that, to me, that's a sign that, you know, it's possible that this person has an emotional vested interest in Dario and might want to keep him clean at all costs. That's something a father would do. We know, based on the Lucha Underground comics, that Dario's father is very much a power-hungry guy. He's seeking power on a near constant basis. So, yeah, the fact that he is this all-powerful guy who's ranking above a mayor, another possible clue that it might be Cueto's father. So, yeah, there's more stuff that happens later and in season 3 that I won't talk about right now. But, yeah, I am convinced that it's Dario and Matanza's daddy. So we'll eventually get around to getting more information on that. But for now, I'll leave it at that. And that was the final segment of episode 13. So we can move on to episode 14, which opens with a recap of the Trios tournament and the Johnny Mundo Cage Taya stuff. And then we get right into our first match of the night, Cage versus Johnny Mundo in a cage match for an Aztec medallion.
You guys probably already know what my thoughts about this match were, so I actually want you to go first, Ash. And what do you think of this cage match?
I loved this match, and to me, the highlight of the match was when Cage did the spine buster to Johnny while Johnny was holding the kendo stick, and it popped the kendo stick out of Johnny's hand, and Cage caught it out of midair. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a great fucking spot. I mean, bro, here's where I am with this match, if I'm being honest. And I know some people may go like, oh, well, that seems pretty obvious. This is one of my favorite Lucha Underground matches, just period. And it's not just because it's a Johnny Mundo match, though, believe me, that plays a huge part in it. It's just these guys had amazing chemistry here. And I feel like they maximized being in a steel cage, honestly, more than I've seen in most cage matches, especially with the Taya element. Cage is just a freak. And I loved how they really built him up here. At times I thought, well, you know, is that a bit much? Maybe you could have shaved a little bit off and still got him in the win. But you know what? I mean, this match really was quintessential Lucha Underground to me. Loads of violence, loads of impact. You have everything going on at once. I mean, again, Taya was just a great heel valet here. Mundo really felt like Cage's wrath, like trying to create that distance at some points, like that one spot where he's trying to avoid Cage and he's rolling through, but then Cage is like, fuck this, I'm just gonna pick him up and shoulder thrust him in the corner. I thought that was great. Mundo's trash talk when he's choking Cage with the boot. You dumb meathead, how's my boot taste? And I'm just like, yes. And yeah, I just felt like this match had great pacing, great energy. It had the stakes, given that it was for an Aztec medallion, plus these guys had beef prior to that, so even if this was just a cage match on its own merits, it still would have worked. And yeah, I feel like this is the best outing these guys had, which was appropriate because this was the feud ender. And the finish, though, I mean, god damn, if being a heel is all about people wanting to see you get your comeuppance, I can't think of a better comeuppance than a Steiner screwdriver on a steel fucking chair.
While your girlfriend is handcuffed to the ropes.
Exactly. So, yeah, dude, I feel like this match hit all the beats, checked all the boxes for me, and definitely one of my favorite Lucha Underground matches just in general.
Yeah, this was a great match, and I love people in chat and people just kind of in general refer to Cage now because of some storyline progression that he gets in season 3, but we refer to him now as Lucha Thanos, and in hindsight, it really does fit, because the thing about Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or in the Marvel comic universe, in the Marvel universe in general, is that even before getting the Infinity Gauntlet, he is one of the most powerful entities in the universe. Yeah. That's Cage. But before he gets any kind of upgrades to his hardware, he is already one of the most powerful entities in the Luchaverse. And it was great. He was a beast. And like you said, he is a freak. And then in season 3, stuff happens, and we'll talk about that later, or we've already talked about it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again down the line. But still, Cage is literally Lucha Thanos, and this is pre-Infinity Gauntlet Thanos, which means he's not all powerful, but he's still very powerful.
Oh, abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, hell, if you don't believe us, ask Johnny Mundo after this match.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beautiful thing, too, is, like, Johnny Mundo has beaten this guy before. Like, the fact that he's even pulled that off makes Johnny Mundo impressive.
Yeah, exactly. And just again, like, I'm just so happy that, and see, this is why I wanted Mundo, even way back in WWE, to be a Rudo, to be a heel, because you can do matches like this, and he's got, like, Taya throwing objects in there every so often, you know, trying to get in the cage. He's, like, talking that trash, but also trying to be evasive. Like, he reads the book, he contributes to the book, he is the fucking book as far as I'm concerned, as when it relates to being a heel, and just a great foil for a babyface Cage. And I've said this before, too. I think Cage as a Technico is one of the best weapons that Lucha Underground has right now, because it just works. And what they've been doing with him works. And again, there's a lot of it I can't talk about because they're more recent developments. But as far as this goes and the whole feud with Johnny Mundo, yeah, I mean, it was just perfect. And it had an outcome that you would expect. I mean, in an even playing field, which it did get to be towards the end, Cage just would have Mundo's number. Cage would have anybody's number, for fuck's sake. So that's not even anything.
Well, you would definitely think so, but in a few episodes, we'll find out that might not always be true.
That's true. That's true. So, all right, I've said all I can about this match. Adored this match. Unless there's anything else you want to say, we can move on.
All right, up next, we had a big announcement. We're supposed to get this big trios four-way match, elimination style. But Dario Cueto comes out to announce that Angelico is injured and that he can't compete tonight. But the match is still happening. So Son of Havoc and Ivelisse are basically just going to have to go at this handicap style.
Yeah. So, I mean, Team Havoc, they're already in dire straits. Missing Angelico, you know, that man disadvantage could come back to bite him in the ass. And yeah, it's our trios tournament finals. What did you think about this match, bro?
Yeah, this was a really, really good match. And this match, Cage in a Cage and Muertes Matanza were the three really, really good matches that I was referring to at the very beginning of this review. Because this might have been the best of the three, but I think all three matches have an argument that they're the best of the three because they were all so good. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Really, the first elimination was really a great story told because you have Joey Ryan basically just treating Ivelisse like a jackass. Like he goes out of the ring and like drags her out of the ring and slams her head on the apron, and he's just really healing it up. And then eventually she gets some offense on him, and he tags out to Castro. Castro and Ivelisse go at it a little bit. Ivelisse gets the upper hand, and then as Castro is thinking about tagging Joey Ryan, he decides against it because Joey Ryan's a scumbag. And then Ivelisse catches Castro in a small package for the win.
Yeah, I love that. I love that that's how the elimination came about because we know the whole story with them. They're really undercover trying to bring down Cueto. They don't like each other on the job, off the job, whatever. There's just that disdain there. And yeah, Castro, Joey Ryan's like, oh, come on, tag me. And just because he just dislikes Joey Ryan's like, nope. And it costs the team. So I really liked how that first elimination was done from a narrative standpoint. And then we get down to these three teams. And what did you think about the match from there?
Yeah, the final three teams, again, a lot of fun. The only unfortunate thing is that Ivelisse and Son of Havoc, it felt like they got eliminated a little bit prematurely. But because they weren't one of the final two teams, it was immediately like this shock, like, oh my God, we're guaranteed new champions before the match is even over.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I loved about it. I could agree with you that maybe they could have lasted a little bit longer, but just them being the second team eliminated, it's like it really sets that stage of, okay, who's going to get it? Either the new unlikely trio of just these three guys or the other three people, you know, Azteca, Puma, and Mysterio, who just seem to fit like a hand in the glove. Like, who's going to get those titles? And yeah, I think the exchange they had here was a lot of fun in the final two. What did you think?
Yeah, even before we get to the final two, I also wanted to talk about something that I didn't even realize until we rewatched this, which is why we rewatched these in the first place. For the longest time, I thought that Johnny Mundo attacked Angelico and replaced him in the same night, because I've been under the impression that Mundo was the one that injured Angelico backstage. From a kayfabe standpoint, obviously, I know Angelico was legitimately injured here, but there's a story reason for pretty much every injury. So I thought Mundo attacked Angelico and injured him, and then replaced him in the same night. But I didn't realize, in hindsight, that this was the same night that Cage in a Cage happened, and that Mundo wasn't in this match. So I think there was a match that ended up being Mundo, Ivelisse, and Son of Havoc as a trio, and that might have even been like the return match for them to try and get the trios titles back.
Yeah.
But I was under the impression that Mundo attacked Angelico and replaced him in the same night. If he did attack Angelico, it wasn't to replace him in the same night because of the whole Cage in a Cage situation. So that really does kind of make me backpedal on my whole Mundo was the one who took Angelico out for this match theory.
Right.
So, all right. So then we had, and really, this whole interaction with Ivelisse and Jack Evans is great, because Jack Evans does the whole, she really thinks she's the baddest bitch in the building, but I am the baddest bitch in the building thing. I can't even finish it with a straight face because I just love Jack Evans so much.
Jack Evans is just fantastic. Oh, man. Yeah, these two teams, I thought they had great chemistry.
It was cool, though, dude, because even, again, you say these two teams, but then I feel like we haven't even talked enough about this moment, because once Ivelisse and Jack Evans get going, there's a point where Ivelisse kicks Jack to set up Havoc for a shooting star to put Jack Evans away and get the elimination. But Phoenix kind of sells out his body, attacks Havoc, kind of dives at him, and it sets up Jack Evans and PJ for a double team that allows them to get the elimination by pinning Ivelisse.
Yeah, surprising teamwork, from, again, the kind of new unlikely trio given the personalities involved, and that's how the champions get eliminated. I like the sequence, too, because Vampiro even makes a point that Ivelisse doesn't even look over at Havoc or tag him over, because that's just how, great their synergy's gotten. But even then, it wasn't enough, because this, unlikely trio, they're willing to put in, specifically Phoenix, willing to make that sacrifice. And we know PJ and Jack, they do get along, right? They kind of have that established synergy, so they're able to work together. So yeah, how everything came together for the elimination of the champions, I did really like. I thought that was great stuff.
Yeah. So then we had Ivelisse and Son of Havoc eliminated, but then we get this crazy interaction where Azteca almost immediately gets his satellite DDT on, I think it was Jack Evans, but it might have been PJ, I don't remember. But then he goes for a second one and it was Phoenix. But then he goes for a second one on Phoenix and he gets kicked in the face, brutally, drop kick in midair, brutal. And then we get the dual tags to Prince Puma and PJ Black, and they go at it. And next thing you know, Mysterio gets tagged in. He hits a 619. Puma tosses El Dragon Azteca Jr. up in the air for an assisted version of the satellite DDT. We get stereo Puma. El Dragon Azteca Jr. dives to the outside. Ray hits a split-legged moonsault, and we have a new trios champions in what I believe we crowned the Lucha Super Friends, right?
Yeah, the Lucha Super Friends.
No, it was the Lucha Trinity. That's what these were, because the Lucha Super Friends were Phoenix, Aerostar, and Drago. That's right.
That's right. So yeah, the Lucha Trinity, and this was their crowning, new trios champions. And again, you just look at them and you're like, yeah, I can buy that. I ain't even gonna try and dispute that. That's too OP. So
yeah. Oh man, so that's all of that is. We got our new champions, and it's these guys. It's the Lucha Trinity, the holy trio of Lucha Underground, of Lucha Libre in general. These guys are amazing. They're all, Ray is a legend. Puma is trying to build a legendary career, and Azteca is the heir to everything.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah, but we go from the holy trinity of Lucha to a very dark and devil-like place because Vampiro is in his sort of dojo, and he says, Pentagon! And Pentagon shows up, and he's in a wheelchair, and then Vamp says, Levántate, which basically just means get up in Spanish. And Pentagon kind of half-heartedly tries to get up, but it's like he's half-assing it, so he doesn't. And then Vampiro's just like, all right, well, if you're not going to try, I'm going to pour hot wax on your head.
Yeah, it gets dark so quickly. I mean, at first, I'm not going to lie, it has a tinge of comedy to it, and maybe it's just because like I'm sick and twisted, but just Pentagon in that motorized kind of wheelchair, I'm just like, okay. But yeah, then when he can't even get up and he gets the hot wax poured on his head and you realize he doesn't even have a life alert to get him out of this situation, you're just like, oh man, it really sucks to be Pentagon right about now. Not fun times, my man. Not fun times.
Yeah. So then he tells him, get up, get up, get up, and Pentagon tries again, but he ends up falling to the floor because the dude's basically paralyzed at this point. And Vampiro calls him weak, and then just kind of leaves him there on the floor to die.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the way you said that. Oh man, it's like Vampiro read my book on social interaction. Just if you see somebody fall, just leave them there to die. It'll work itself out. But yeah.
That sounds like something you would write.
I know, right? Sounds like something I would write. Bitch, you know I would do it too. I mean, we've talked about what I would do in a zombie apocalypse. Somebody grabs your ankle, it's over. But yeah, Vampiro, he's evil, but I love him for it, because why does Pentagon deserve any dignity or respect? That's just kind of my feeling on the whole situation. So, yeah, sooner or later he'll pick his broken ass up, I'm sure. But that was our closing cinematic. We see the relationship on, full display, Vampiro continuing to mold Pentagon into the image that, he wants him to be. And yeah, just a great episode of Lucha Underground to round out this set today on Lucha Rewatch. Do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I don't really have any extra remarks to make as far as the shows go. Just really glad that we're doing this series. I've had a lot of fun talking about it, and the next few weeks are the big build-up to Ultima Lucha Dos, and I remember Ultima Lucha Dos being disappointing, but I also remember being really excited for it, so I guess that means the build was pretty damn good, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I can't wait to cover it all here down the road.
Yeah, we've got episodes 15 and 16 to cover. Episode 15, I'm just going to tell you guys what the titles of these episodes are. I'm not going to tell you anything else, but the episode titles give a lot away because episode 15 is titled No Mas, and episode 16 is titled Graver Consequences. So next week is going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. Knowing that, I can't wait for next week, and I hope everybody joins us because, man, was chat the most interesting it's been in a while as it relates to Lucha Rewatch, and Jesus Christ. So I guess we'll see you guys for that. Partner, I'll let you take us home.
All right, guys. Well, make sure that you check out the description for all the links to our Lucha Underground playlist, Season 1 reviews, Season 1 rewatch, Season 2 reviews, Season 2 live reaction, Season 2 ongoing rewatch, which is what you're listening to right now. Also, support us on Patreon. We had a bunch of super chats going on tonight, so if you're that loose and fast with your money, donate to Patreon. Get us up to our community goal of $200 so that we can live react to every episode of Monday Night Raw. Plus, if you donate a certain amount, you can also request a custom review. You can join the archive of TWitWoW Request Live. And speaking of TWitWoW Request Live, we will be doing a review tomorrow of the 2000 edition of the Royal Rumble.
Yes, so guys, be sure to join us for that. Because I just love these kind of classic reviews we get to do. All thanks to the Patreon, which, again, if you guys haven't yet, please look into that. Because, man, did we make it rain today. So, yeah, partner, continue.
Yeah, if you're not interested in a custom review or having us live react to Raw, but you still want to support us, you can buy a t-shirt, you can buy a sticker, you can buy a mug. All of those are available in our Teespring store if you just click on the Teespring link in the description. And, of course, if you're interested in following us on social media, we both have Twitter accounts, both linked in the description. You can like our Facebook page or the official TWitWoW subreddit. You can check that out as well. And that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you all enjoyed this episode of Lucha Rewatch Season 2. We will be back tomorrow with a review of the Royal Rumble 2000. It just feels so weird to just say 2000 because it doesn't even sound like a year. It just sounds like the Geratron 5000, but with the Royal Rumble. But it is the actual Royal Rumble from the year 2000, so that's the best way I can put it. So we'll see you all for that. And you guys all need to stay awesome, but more importantly, stay tuned.